Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Throughout life, we are thrown many different encounters, some of which we are prepared for, and some of which we do not necessarily see coming. My name is Kyle Lindsay, and I am here representing a young man whose life will never be the same. Mr. John Burlew had a calling in life, and that calling was mathematics. Mr. Burlew is considered to be one of the brightest math minds around, having been recruited by some of the top mathematical colleges and institutions in the country. Since his sophomore year of high school, Mr. Burlew had been taking college-level courses in mathematics at Penn State University. This is also the same man who has also been compared to Albert Einstein by some due to his aptitude and astuteness in the math field. However, that all changed one haunting and life-changing Christmas, after a career-altering injury to John Burlew. During his years of developing and refining his math proficiencies, Mr. Burlew had a strong bond with the defendant. Mr. Burlew and the defendant became close friends and had often spent a lot of time together when he was not doing his math work. Mr. Burlew made it a point to spend time with the defendant on Christmas and Easter because, in a sense, they were like a second family. Recently, the defendant's family had decided to get a dachshund. Mr. Burlew and the dog had become familiar with each other in its young stages of life, but had no previous problems besides usual puppy play. As the Christmas holiday rolled around, Mr. Burlew went about his usual routine of going to the defendant's house for dinner. Mr. Burlew thought it would be a nice gesture to both the family and the puppy by giving it a gift of reindeer ears for the dog to wear around for the holidays. As Mr. Burlew approached the dog, he got but only a few words out before the dog lashed out, biting him on the forehead, resulting in a bloody stream oozing from his head. Mr. Burlew was then rushed to the hospital and later diagnosed with a bone bruise after he received stitches and a tetanus shot. During the course of the altercation, Mr. Burlew had overheard the third-party conversation going on, and the defendant saying in the background, "I hope he does not go over to Leather while he's in his dog bed." Mr. Burlew, however, thought nothing of these comments because he was never formally warned or stopped from approaching the defendant's dog. Mr. Burlew, in a sense, was blindsided and had no idea that the dog's attack was coming, due to the defendant's negligence of giving no proper warning. John was getting frequent headaches, and approximately 1 week after the bite, John could not remember how to do basic math. He wound up losing his math genius, in a sense. The colleges that were interested in him stopped calling him and reaching out to him. He then fell into a deep depression. Mr. Burlew felt bad about informing the police that the dog had bit him because in fear of the dog being put down. The question remains, though, why wouldn't the defendant have warned Mr. Burlew about the approaching dog? The evidence will show that the defendant was negligent and that they, in fact, are responsible for the career-ending injury suffered that one Christmas evening. As a result from the trauma, Mr. Burlew is seeking $5 million in compensation based on his injuries and potential loss of earnings. I would like to thank you, the people of the jury, for your time, and good luck in this ongoing process.
In today's world, having dogs and sometimes even two are normal in an American household. Sometimes dogs can get defensive and do anything to protect themselves, and the people they grow attached to, and it means they feel necessary, especially against someone considered to be a stranger to the dog. My name is Tim Burek, and I'm here representing the defendant, Mark Burnett, and his family, and of course, the dog Leather. John Burlew, the plaintiff, is a close friend with Mark Burnett and is highly recognized for his genius mind in mathematics. Mark's family is and always has been really supportive of his career in mathematics. John being busy pursuing his career in mathematics stopped coming around, and in that time, Mark and his family got a dachshund by the name of Leather. John only met Leather a few times before he became so busy with his career. Now this would classify John as a stranger to Leather. Over the next few months, Leather of course got bigger. John decided that he would visit Mark and his family for Christmas and decided to get Leather a present, while still barely knowing Leather. For whatever reason, John felt that it was necessary and very important for him to give the present to Leather himself. When John was going to give Leather his present, Leather was peacefully sleeping in his dog bed. John also admits to hearing Mark's mom say to Mark's dad, "I hope he doesn't go to Leather while he is sleeping," which just didn't think anything of it. John, hearing this comment, still went over to Leather while he was sleeping. As John went to give Leather his present, which was reindeer ears, Leather got scared and got defensive, and while not knowing John very well, bit him out of a sense of protection. Of course a dog would be rattled and scared if a stranger came approaching him or her in a way they are not used to. May I remind you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Leather has had no history of being violent or biting any strangers. When this accident happened, Mark and his family offered to help John, but he wanted no part of it. Mark's family showed they cared and showed affection towards John. John went to the hospital to get treatment for his minor cut, and while John was at the hospital, he also admits to lying to police, saying that he fell and scraped his head on the floor. It is very strange that John would do something like this and not tell the truth for whatever circumstance may be. But it was only until then that there was unpredictable circumstances that John could not even solve a simple math problem such as 2 plus 2. And then he came out to say that Leather attacked him. It was also very shocking to Mark and his family because they thought the problem was solved and that John understood it was an accident. Ladies and gentlemen, may I remind you that Leather was protecting himself from what he thought a stranger trying to hurt him. It was very understandable that a sleeping dog would get rattled and scared in a situation like that. Yes, it was unfortunate that John was hurt and Leather could not add, but that is because of his own negligence. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, judging on the facts of the case, John's negligence and the fact that John lied to the police at the hospital, he should not be awarded the $5 million in punitive damages. Thank you.